Hey, how y'all doing? This here is Soldier of COD. I'm back and ready to go. I'd like to give a special thanks to Draven and Mr. New Vegas. They did an excellent job of covering my ass when needed, in giving plenty of great support, and in helping to funnel the enemy into my kill zones. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna say it right up front. This was a camper's mode. It was camperific, it was camptastic. Yeah, unfortunately this map was also a camper's paradise. You had this area here, you had the one up where the A domination, where I started is. You have where I was, and you had on the alley by B domination. You had the store on one side, and you had that little knoll platform, whatever the hell you want to call it, area on the other side. As you can see, I am using a Type 95, which I jokingly have called a bitch 95 in the past. It's actually a very good gun, and that's why I'm using it. And as you noticed, I do have an FAD on the other side. I had thought about taking a MP9, the secondary, as a weapon, but I figure I might as well use the FAD. It's a faster fire rate, larger magazine, and it's as accurate, if not more so, at range. The things I want to talk about in this video really are different points of Modern Warfare 3. You know, I realize most of us aren't playing it anymore. We're into Black Ops 2. But I figure this would be a great time to wrap it up with this MOB. I want to talk about the gun balance first. Gun balance is always very important. In Modern Warfare 3, you basically have 2 or 3 weapons that will dominate each weapon tier or class type of weapon. I'm going to use the SMGs as an example because I've covered them all. I'm sure you've all seen where I've compared them against each other. Basically, you had the MP7. It was super accurate, and it could be used to take out snipers. Not often, I'll say that, but it's capable of being done. I've actually done it once or twice. It's rare, but hey. Then you had the PP90 M1, which was my choice of a sprayer's weapon with extended mags, because it has a high rate of fire. I believe it had 1,000 rounds per minute, and it was pretty accurate, pretty powerful at close range. And then you had the the P90. You know, it had decent rate of fire, decent damage. It had recoil, don't get me wrong, but it didn't have a ton of recoil, and it had such a large magazine. I always joked it was a cross between an SMG and an LMG. And that's just the SMGs. I mean, you had the same thing with sniper rifles. You know, some were better than others, and it just got to the point where certain guns were dominating every class. Now, the next thing I want to talk about on guns and the gun balance was when you unlock them. Again, I'll use the SMGs as an example. You unlocked the PP90 M1 fairly early, and it was quite a ways after that that you actually unlocked the PM9. They're virtually the same gun, so why would I take, unless I'm going for, getting all the attachments, all pretty unlocks, gold, why would I use the PM9 that I just unlocked, no attachments, instead of using the PP90 M1 that I've had for 20, 30 some odd levels? I've probably unlocked everything by then. I'm not going to switch. Unfortunately, that was the case with many, many, many other guns. Look at the assault rifles. The ACR was one of the most used assault rifles because of the lack of recoil. So, again, why would I use a gun that I just unlocked when I have a gun that I unlocked early in my prestige that's as good, if not better? I'm not going to. So, I do like some of the changes they've made in Black Ops 2 on that, but I'll save that for another video. The next thing I definitely want to talk about were the point streaks. You know, we all have the assault streaks in every COD game that I'm aware of, because I actually started playing online on Black Ops. Well, I like this. I like the assault streaks. Love the idea of the support streaks. My system went down December 20th of 2011, and I didn't get it back till like beginning of February 2012. Okay, so I was down over a month and a half. So when I came back, I needed the support to use the support streaks. I had to. I'm not gonna lie, I was terrible. The only thing I did not like about the support streaks was the fact the stealth bomber was in there. You know, that just congratulates people. Oh, here's a stealth bomber. Because you camped in a corner, you know, you got a lot of kills. Well, you got enough kills to get the stealth bomber, but you got a ton of deaths probably. And now you get to kill 3-4 players with a simple kill streak. No, I didn't like that. I felt it should be taken out and have like a special care package put in where you can only get support streaks out of it. You don't get any assault streaks. And then we had specialist. I absolutely loved specialist streak. I'm using it here. I used it quite a bit. Probably a lot more than I should have, honestly. I thought it was a great idea. You know, it's for people that want to give up all of their assault streaks, all of their support streaks, in order to become, in-game wise, a more perfect soldier, if that makes any sense. The next thing I want to talk about are the maps. And you had maps like this one where it was a camper's paradise. I mean, as you can see, those guys are out there camping the piss out of me. But you had people doing that in every game mode, not just domination. Unfortunately, I was hoping with the DLC content last year that they would put in different maps. You know, Liberation looked like a sniper's haven. It was to a degree. Then you had, was it Piazza? The one that looks like it's an Italian seacoast village. That looked to be like a SMG dream, really. And it was to a degree, don't get me wrong. You know, you always had people running on every map with SMGs or shotguns or sniper rifles. It didn't matter what the map was, but they seemed to have, I don't know, flaws, I guess, is the word I'm thinking of. I mean, they all looked to be played one way, but when you got on them, many times they weren't. Then I'd like to talk about survival mode. I absolutely love this game type. It was fun. I know after I got my system back last January, February, I played a lot of survival just to get used to, again, to get used to the recoil, the way the gun's handled, and more into that multiplayer aspect without getting my ass kicked around the map. That's never fun. The single player. I know most of us get these games for the multiplayer. I'd like to think I'm in the majority when I say I do play through the single player. I always do. It's usually one of the first things I play, so that I get used to the way the gun handles. And here's my little celebration victory for the world. If you can find and talk to Draven or New Vegas, you will find out I was probably the calmest person in the whole game when that happened. I'm just not easily excited. If I get pissed or really anxious about something, it's big. Okay, the single player, back to that. It was a pretty good story. I was a touch let down at the end. I think they could have ended it differently and it would have been better, but that's my personal opinion. You know, for the most part, it was a decent game and it was a decent story. The spawn system. Where do I start on that? It was easy to spawn trap. It was easy to be spawn trapped. All it took was a couple of great players on your team or a couple of crappy players on your team, and you were either gonna win or you're gonna be shit on. The one map I really thought was terrible for spawn system, the spawn system, was Dome. I understand it's a small map. You know, you have the, as I guess they call them, like hot spawn points. You know, where the game will try to put you when it can. Then it had like the cold spawn points, which is my understanding, and I'm not an expert on this. You know, don't quote me exactly, but where the game would put you if the other spawn points had enemies in them. It got to the point the whole map was one giant spawn point, one way or another. My favorite game mode, I like the usuals, you know, KC, kill confirmed, team deathmatch, domination. I really enjoyed, I absolutely loved Drop Zone. Not because I could camp it. No, I care less about that. I loved it because you could shoot down aircraft and get blind eye pro so easy that way. Things I thought hurt the game. Ghost and some of the other stealth perks made it so that a player could just sit in a corner and camp it and just be a bitch about it. Don't get me wrong, there were always players that used the stealth perks to run around, and I love that. Don't get me wrong, I give those guys more respect than probably most other people deserve. What's left? What I liked and didn't like. Didn't like the camping. I wasn't fond of the spawn system, but it's sadly enough better than Black Ops 2, I believe. What I liked, I liked some of the guns. I liked some of the attachments. I became a big fan of suppressors, and I just thought it was a good experience overall. I like it. Oh, word of the day. That is so that I know people are basically watching the whole video.